terms of us and how we've been playing, nothing really changes our focus and what we want to do. And not just that, but in terms of, so one or two playing out position, one or two playing carrying knocks where we would have probably moved them, but they've carried the fight and kept picking up points. The fixtures are that mad, and to look after players, as players come back fit, they will get minutes, they will get game time, so there will be opportunity, like you say, to play your way in.
It's been 4 weeks since we last saw Championship action, 4 weeks since we last saw these players pull on the red and white shirt. But the wait is over, the Championship is back, and the race for promotion to the Premier League resumes. Huddersfield Town are today's opponents, with the Blades looking to close that 3-point gap to Burnley at the top of the table. And whilst the World Cup continues with England at 7, our focus right now is here at Bramall Lane, with Paul Heckingbottom's side keen to pick up where they left off in November. Kick-off is just under an hour away, and for all of the match pass information and broadcasting regulations for today's game, go to the club's website, sufc.co.uk. Good afternoon. Have you missed us? We've certainly missed you. Welcome back inside our studio here in the heart of Bramall Lane. The EFL Championship returns. It's been a long month without Championship football for sure. So how do you fill your time? Well, I'm delighted to say I'm joined by two guests who've been doing plenty of filling over the last month. Jack O'Connell, Carl Asaba, welcome along, chaps.
Hi.
And Jack, if you've been following him like I have on Instagram, and I know Carl has for sure as well, just talk us through what we've been seeing, because there's been some serious weightlifting going on and classes you've been taking.
Yeah, I've had no time off, unfortunately. I know a few of the lads have been away, but I've been carrying on with my physio and obviously trying to get back fit.
And Carl, not quite the same intensity for you, but around about 5:30, 6 every morning, Carl likes to put posts of himself on Instagram, going running past Chatsworth House. Poor dog Freddie goes for all these runs, but I noticed not this morning.
No. I've just been getting my baggy clothes on now, and I'm going to be sat next to the Ripposaurus Rex here.
That's what you did in your playing days, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, not to those levels.
Not quite. Okay, let's turn our attention to today's game, because 4 weeks is a long time, especially at the time of season it's come, the end of November, beginning of December. You've been in the heart of it, Jack. How have the boys that weren't involved in the World Cup been occupying their time and making sure they stay fit and ready for today?
Yeah, they had programmes to do. Obviously, a lot of them went away on holiday to get some sun, and I think it was good timing for us, especially with the injuries, and I think the lads come back and they look refreshed, and hopefully they can show that today.
Carl, what would you have made of it in your playing day?
I would have loved it. I would have been injured. No doubt I would have been injured, and I would be using the time wisely recovering. But no, we really strange for them all, and I think personally it came at a great time for us.
Well, the good news is that for those players that were carrying injuries, it looks like some of them at least have recovered enough to take their role either on the bench or even start today. So let's take a look at the Sheffield United team news to take on Huddersfield Town here at Bramall Lane today. And there's some key names that come back. You notice on the bench, particularly Ollie McBurney, Sander Berger, Max Lowe, who hasn't played since September, of course. And then in defence, Anel Amahodic is there. We've got Kieran Clark as well. Illiman and Jai, obviously, he's had a great World Cup. We'll discuss him a little later in the show. But what do we make of that starting lineup, Carl?
Yeah, it's strong. Obviously, from the last match, I think there's 3 changes. McAtee, in his last two games that we saw away at Bristol City, I thought he was great. And definitely in the last match against Cardiff, he came on and transformed our performance. It's good. You know, the boys are going to be sharp and looking to push on. Yeah,
what about James McAtee, Jack? Because he started a little bit slowly when he joined from Manchester City on loan at the start of the season, but he seems to be growing in confidence the more games he plays now.
Yeah, of course, and that happens when you're a young kid. We've all been there. I mean, I done the same when I first went out on loan. It's his first loan. He's obviously got talent, but he just needs to play games, and, you know, he's getting that now.
Look on the bench as well. Sander Berger being back, we know how important he is. I imagine that gives everybody a bit of a fillip, doesn't it?
I'd say so. I think the bench is incredible. Now, to get Max Lowe coming back, we've really missed him, I felt, down the left, and Bogle as well. on there. It just means the competition for places is going to be back there, and these are top players who are coming back now to really help us push on.
And I know, Carl, you've been a big advocate of Ollie McBurney for the best part of 18 months or more. With this season, we've seen that form come back to him in front of goal. He had a minor procedure during the World Cup break to fix a niggling issue, and see him back on the bench, Jack. That, again, options for the manager if he needs to change things.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how quick he's returned from injury. Has been astonishing, really. But our bench looks really strong today, and it's good to have Ollie back as well.
Absolutely. We spoke at the start of the season about just how strong this Sheffield United squad looked on paper, and maybe we're beginning to see that now with players coming back to full fitness. Just before we came on air, I had the chance to catch up with one of those in the starting 11 today. Here's the thoughts of Enda Stevens.
Yeah, it's great to be back. Obviously, it's like a mini pre-season we've had with training, and we got a few games in there. So, yeah, we're all raring to go.
How have you all kept yourself busy?
We had a good 10 days off. Little break, we got to see family, some people went away and that, and then we came back and it was just heads on, try to get fit and just try to get back to where we left off.
And obviously you've got Iliman Ndiaye, who's back now after his successful stint out of the World Cup. How's he come back from that? I'm presuming he was buzzing with the way he played, if not a little disappointed last week.
Yeah, he's come back, and obviously it's a brilliant experience for him, and hopefully he can take that form now and come straight back in and help us. And he's been excellent all season, and he's really one to watch, and hopefully he really kicks on now.
At a Yorkshire derby here at the Lane today against Huddersfield Town, a big 3 points on the line.
Yeah, that's it. It's a derby, and we know what they're going to bring, and it's going to be a tough game, and we know we're going to be at it. And we've done our preparation, we've done our homework on them, and now it's game time. And
a chance, even at this stage of the season, to put a little bit more pressure on Burnley if you can get the win.
Yeah, that's it. We just want to keep winning. Keep winning games. We're coming up to a busy period now over Christmas. It's obviously a really important one, and we just got to focus on ourselves and see where it takes us.
We just want to keep on winning, and we just want to keep seeing Sheffield United win. A reminder that if you want to watch today's game, you can do so right here by purchasing your matchday pass. Just go to the club's website, sufc.co.uk, for all the details there to see unrivaled coverage as the Blades take on Huddersfield Town. Now, as we keep saying, it's been 4 weeks since we last saw the Blades in action. They were down in South Wales at Cardiff City, and it turned out to be a successful trip.
The final game before the World Cup break. What have Sheffield United got left in the tank? Nord on the ball now for United. Decent ball in, just a bit too strong. Sharp with a cross, it was a good one, and it was an important touch from Perry NG. Baldock's turn to cross, Osborne competing. Shot from a long way out. Trying to get round Stevens. Oregon comes, gets a little touch on it. Oh, that's loose, Harris. What a gift here, Mark Harris, can he finish? United have got bodies back, it comes to Robinson. Robinson, brilliant block by John Egan. There is the half-time whistle. Goalless here at the Cardiff City Stadium. McAtee, Jai in the middle. McAtee going himself. McAtee comes the corner, and Kieran Clark with a wonderful opportunity. Sharp, again decent hold-up play from Sharp. Can he get the shot away? McAtee leaves it for Norwood. Looks too close to the goalkeeper. Fires the pass wide. Here's Baldock. Run made by McAtee. Still got Baldock for support. Tried to go himself, but Baldock takes over eventually. Baldock! Oh! Fired in at the near post. And Sheffield United take the lead. George Baldock on the score sheet. An unlikely goal scorer. His first of the campaign. And United leading Wales. Stevens trying to win it back, and does. Norwood, lovely pass. Billy Sharp shoots, saved by Allsop. McAtee is away from White. He's got Ndiaye for support. Osborne coming up with him as well. Ben Osborne for United. Fine save, Iliman Ndiaye. Oh. And there is the full-time whistle. Sheffield United victorious in Wales.
Victorious in Wales. 1-0 the final score to the Blades. Any win on the road, fellas, is good, but put it into some perspective. Obviously, we were dealing with a few injuries at the time. There were a few players that were having to play slightly out of position. Jack, going into this month-long break, how big was that result?
Massive. I think before the game it was just a case of just win, whatever way that is. Obviously, off the back of the Rotherham defeat, it was important that we finished with the win, and the lads managed to do that and kept the clean sheet away from home again.
And it came, obviously, Carl, on the back of that surprising and disappointing 1-0 defeat here to Rotherham. You could see the fans and the applause that the players and manager were taking there. But let's talk about George Baldock's goal, because he doesn't score many. He scored that screamer here against Swansea at the back end of last season, but I think it was Ollie Norwood's ball that went out to the right that impressed you just as much, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an incredible pass from Norwood, which we know people take him for granted. He's outstanding. Great ball that sprung their defence. But Baldock's been, he's so tenacious. He's got so much energy, and he made, it was good play, but it was frizzling out. But he was there, and he didn't give up. And then the strike was wonderful. So nothing that we didn't deserve. They managed to drag out a win there. But my favourite bit was being at the ground was seeing all the Senegal flags. Our fans really, it was a lovely scene, and the send-off Enjoy got was brilliant from our fans.
Well, we are going to focus on Illiman in a short while. Jack, I've got to ask, you've spoken to George. Was that a shot on goal, or was it a cross?
100% a cross. 100%.
What's he said back in the dressing room?
Nah, it was a great finish. He doesn't pop up that much, but the one last year when he scored the left foot volley as well, and when he does pop up, they're important.
Yeah, absolutely. And to see just how important, let's take a look at the league table as it stood going into the World Cup breaks. There has been a couple of early kickoffs today. It puts Sheffield United clear in second, 3 points behind Burnley. I remember, obviously, that scintillating second-half performance we saw here against Burnley in the win. Psychologically now, as you approach the halfway point of the season, how important is it that the Blades did find themselves back in the top two? Because we had just stuttered a bit through October.
I think, yeah, especially with the injuries we had. I said in a previous show, just finishing the top two, going into the World Cup break, and we get bodies back, and then we really crack on after the break, and we've got bodies back, and we're in the top two, so hopefully we can do it.
Yeah, and the manager's shown that he can always help this team to win. He can cobble together a winning team. We haven't had our best of the best 11 out for many weeks, for many months, but yet he keeps being able to find a way to get the boys together to dig out wins, and they'll be growing in confidence from that, knowing that most 11s that we put out, there's enough there to get a win.
Those of you who are eagle-eyed will have noticed that Blackburn were only 2 points behind the Blades at the start of today. Victory over Preston this lunchtime would have seen them leapfrog for a few hours at least above the Blades. Hasn't happened. They've been thrashed 4-1 by Preston North End, so it's very much in our hands to only better where we are right now. But I just wonder, given the uptick in form, who does it benefit most? Because we know Huddersfield have had, by their standards, I think, off the back of last season, a really disappointing first third of the season. Does it benefit a team like Huddersfield who have a chance to regroup with a 4-week break? Or does it benefit the Blades who had a few injuries and you can get players fit again?
I think both. I think for us, definitely, we had so many injuries, big players as well. To get them back is obviously fantastic, and it's a chance for Huddersfield to restart as well.
Me and you were talking before the match. For me, all these things, it's about your mindset. Whatever's thrown at you, you can take it positively or negatively. Oh, we're second, we didn't want to stop. If you look at that with a negative mindset, it's no good. We're second, now we can regroup and we can push on. That's the way I think Hecky and his team will have the boys, and they'll all be looking to go fresher now.
You'd have liked this break, wouldn't you, Carl?
I love a break, I love a break. As I said, I will have been carrying at least a niggle.
well, let's have a look at the form for the Blades going into the break, because we say it did take an uptick at the start of November. 3 clean sheets stand out there to me. 4 wins from 5, Jack.
Fantastic, yeah. It's just the consistency for me. The one against Rotherham, I think you've got to win that. But obviously we did bounce back against Cardiff, but no, fantastic run of results.
Was that a case, Carl, a little bit after the Lord Mayor's show? Because, this place was bouncing after the second half against Burnley, and I know professionally every player turns around and says, well, we don't look past the next game, and it's one game at a time, but everybody's only human.
Yeah, but you've also got to remember, we are a big fish in this league, and teams want to beat us, and it's a local derby. Preston have just turned over Blackburn. It's a local derby. You've got to understand each team has quality in that team to win a match in the Championship level. It was one of those days where I wasn't hit that match, but apparently they really played well, and we sort of went through the motions, and that's why I think the final match against Cardiff was even better, that they were able to pick themselves up and grind one last win out. You know, this is going to be a really big occasion.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it? You talk about it being a derby. This is another Yorkshire derby. Form book a little bit goes out the window.
Yeah, of course, and like we've said before, we've got players back and we have to fresh start for Huddersfield, but I think for us, we've just got to come out all guns blazing, and obviously we're going to be refreshed, and we've got a great squad as well.
Okay, let's take a little look down memory lane. You're going to love this graphic with your eyes, Carl. Oh. Down the years, Sheffield United, when they were after 21 games in the Championship. Can you see those figures, fellas?
I think it's enjoy class.
Let me help you out. The last time Sheffield United, after 21 games, found themselves in the top two, the 18-19 season, we got promoted. You look at where we were 12 months ago, we were 10th after 21 games, finished 5th. We all know what happened in the playoffs. I mean, obviously, people like me love graphics like this because you compare and contrast. Does it really mean anything?
Not really. I mean, for me as a player, I wouldn't look too much into it, but I think, like the players will tell you, it's just ticking the games off, keep winning games, and like Ender said, keep winning games.
I wouldn't look at this. I just look at Hecky and his team.
Well, you couldn't see it.
Well, it was more than a test. That was minute. But I just think the players coming back fit with Hecky, what he can do. That they'll not worry about the stats. They look at the next match and think it's winnable, and that's how they go about it. They're not going to say, "Oh, well, look at the stats, lads. It's on us." No, next match, you lot are good enough to win it. That's all it is. We've got good players and a good manager.
So it's not just the manager and the players that have been focusing on today's game and getting better. Off the field as well, facilities have been improved here at Sheffield United with a new training pitch at the facility up at Shirecliffe. Take a look at this.
The pitch ultimately will be the same as Bramall Lane. There's no reason why it won't play exactly the same way as Bramall Lane if you need it to. In terms of how it plays, flat, quick. Got the undersoil heating so we can keep the frost off it. It's an investment for the club. For me, it's well worth having a player less in the squad for this season it's going to help us, but also going forwards for the club and future managers, future playing squads. They've got a surface fit for the standard that we play at.
I think you'll agree, a fairly impressive looking playing surface now at the training complex, and one that is identical pretty much in every way to what the boys play out here at Bramall Lane week in, week out. Jack O'Connell, how important is it that this club keeps moving forward with the training facilities and you do have the best that you can get?
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, especially if you want to go again and go to the Premier League, I think the training pitch is looking good. I don't think it's quite ready yet. I think the gaffers had a couple of training sessions on it, but no, definitely moving in the right direction.
A little bit different to your playing days here, Carl.
Yeah, well, this team, they're highly technical. They've got great technique. My one, when I played, I was at Brentford, and one day a week was a day on the track. That summed up my side of football. It was about running, but this team, they play football and they want to play it well. So, of course, you've got to be able to replicate that in training sessions, and well done for the club for spending the money so we can keep playing the way we're playing.
Yeah, let's not forget, this is a club that has a proud tradition of bringing talent through. We talk about players like Iliman and Jai, and rightfully proud of what he's achieving right now, but you've only got to look really at the World Cup quarter-final tonight and the players potentially involved. The likes of Kyle Walker, and Harry Maguire and so on. They all applied their trade here at Sheffield United.
Yeah, I mean that's what the club are doing. They're trying to move in the right direction and attract them younger players to stay and progress through to the first team. And we've got a lot of young talent who are really good, and it's about getting them into the first team.
You played at a few clubs during your career. Who had the best training facilities during your time, Carl?
I think Stoke. Stoke had really good facilities. They've got great facilities now, you know, really incredible. But
is it any coincidence that coincided with perhaps their brightest points in recent times?
Yeah, for definite. The improving of the infrastructure does. And Stoke young players were coming through and they were good. And when I was here, that's when Shirecliffe was made, you know. And once Shirecliffe was made, they wanted me out the door because I was ruining it. I was turning it up like a cow.
I'm sure that's not the case.
I was turning it up like cattle. Yeah, no. And the players that are coming through now, we're selling kids for 2 and 3 million that we don't get to see on the first team because they're so good and the technique's so good with the coaches on our training facilities. No, it's money well spent, and it's the future. It's the only way. We can't be paying 20 million or 30 million. We need to be bringing them through ourselves, and that's where Sheffield United excel, bringing through young players.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, some of those young players will be involved over this Christmas period, which as always is a hectic period for football, and the games keep coming thick and fast for Sheffield United, who are back in action a week on Monday with a road trip to Wigan Athletic. 8 p.m. kickoff for that one. We're on air from 7. And then we're back at Bramall Lane on Boxing Day. Sheffield United taking on Coventry City. 3 p.m. kickoff there. SUTV live on air from 2 p.m. Before Thursday, the 29th of December. Important to note the kickoff time for this one, slightly unusual. 8:15 p.m. at Bloomfield Road. SUTV live will be on air from 7:30 p.m. for that one. And remember, today's game kicks off in a little under 40 minutes' time. You can see all the action with us here on SUTV Live, but you will need to purchase your match pass in order to do so. So just go to the club's website, sufc.co.uk, and you'll find all the details on how to purchase your match pass right there. And if that's not enough, and you're still looking for that all-important Christmas present with Christmas just 2 weeks or so away, you can fill your basket either in the online store at the club's website or come down here and join us at Bramall Lane. The club shop is now open, and you can look as happy about it as this man, Billy Sharp. All Carl Asaba wants is footage of his first ever Blades goal against Huddersfield. It's not coming today,
Just saying,
Carl.
if it was Gagey, we would have seen it 10 times by now. Slow-mo, all sorts of angles.
However, we will try and appease you because we have got some fantastic goals from November. Take a look at these, who are all vying for Goal of the Month.
Bulldog will play, and Bulldog will score. Power shot from the Greek international.
Again, Iliman Ndiaye. Nobody can stop him. Bristol City launched high into the penalty area. There's 4 around McBurney, the target, and Burnley get it away, only as far as Robinson again. This time across, floated in Ahmed Hudson, and the goal! And it's scored by Ollie McBurney! Sheffield United waste little time in the second half in getting back on terms against Burnley. Brilliantly crafted goal, and Ollie McBurney with a diving header has Bramall Lane in raptures. All square again. Blades 2, Burnley 2.
Holds it up, plays it to the edge of the box. Basham clipped in, dangerous towards Billy Sharp, towards Ndiaye. He scored. He's headed it in. And 3.5 minutes into the second half, Sheffield United get their reaction after the break, and it's that man again, Iliman Ndiaye. Nobody can stop him. Bristol City 0, Sheffield United 1.
Soon to get underway in the cup. Norwood's corner, in it goes, out to Osborne, goalmouth scramble again, shooting chance, and at last, and Ahmed Hudson has scored. He's had one effort saved, he's had one effort crash off the bar, but as the ball dropped to his feet, it was a beautiful turn in a congested penalty area, and he swept it in from close range, and Sheffield United have swept into a 4-2 lead against the league leaders. Fantastic, fantastic stuff at Bramall Lane.
Norwood, Sheffield United at the moment picking a route through that as Norwood
ball.
will drive through the ball to the right hand side. Excellent first time touch from Baldock into the area for James McAtee. McAtee to the byline, well tracked back there. McAtee still has the ball. Norwood with an option. Nkunku there, but Baldock into the area. Baldock will finish! And Baldock will score! Power shot from the Greek international. He gave the keeper Ryan Alsop absolute no chance. Wonderful work down the right. George Baldock scores for the first time since that screamer against Swansea back in February. It is a jubilant away end on the far side, and it is nothing short of what Sheffield United deserve in this second half. 19 minutes after the break, it is Cardiff City 0, Sheffield United 1. Greek international George Baldock on the score sheet for the first time this season.
Some way in this corner kick, there are 6 red and white shirts in the penalty area to Abat. Norwood and Osborne a little further upfield. In it goes! Oh! And the header crashes off the bar. And it's gone in! And Sheffield United have taken the lead. And would you believe it? It's Jack Robinson whose own goal started the scoring here at Bramall Lane. Well, isn't that swift redemption for Jack Robinson, who's mobbed by his teammates and celebrated by all around here at Bramall Lane. It was a goal mouth scramble, and Jack Robinson was Johnny on the spot right in the nick of time. And Sheffield United lead in this engrossing championship encounter by 3 goals to 2.
Some fantastic moments, some memorable goals from the month of November. Only 4 games, but some great highlights. And the winner of the Goal of the Month competition was the man to my left suggested he went for a pass. He didn't. It was George Baldock, found the back of the net in that 1-0 win against Cardiff City. He wins November's Goal of the Month competition. OK, chaps, let's talk about the man of the hour then, Iliman Ndiaye, because we've seen him represent Senegal out in the FIFA World Cup in Qatar before they lost to England last weekend. And you can now see a feature-length documentary on SUTV's YouTube channel, which starts from Iliman Ndiaye being born in France to a Senegalese father and a French mother. But it documents his rise from non-league football to the world's biggest stage, the FIFA World Cup. Take a look at this.
Best debut I could ever have, obviously a big win. I was playing with freedom. I was playing like I've always been in that environment, and obviously scoring 2 goals and assisted 1, I think you're gonna have a better debut at Bramall Lane as well. So, which is amazing. For my first time in my life, like you have the crowd standing up. So yeah, it was amazing. I had goosebumps. It was crazy. Obviously, don't forget about the cramps. No, it was amazing. It was amazing. I just knew it was gonna come one day, just because I believed in myself, and didn't stop working hard. If I never try, when am I gonna ever do it? You know what I'm saying? When am I gonna show my strength? You know, my abilities, or basically why I play football.
It is a truly remarkable story and well worth a watch. Carl Asaba, we've talked numerous times on this show about Iliman Ndiaye, the good and the bad, as he's found his way in professional football at first team level. When you see that documentary and put into perspective just what he's achieved in such a short space of time, what comes to mind?
I think for me is the support network he must have. He must have an incredible family around him. You know, he seems so grounded. You know, it's so easy to lose your way and read everything that's going on about you and not put in, you know, the performances that have got you there. He seems to be the lad who's as grounded as they come, and it will be his, you know, his upbringing and his friends and family. But for me, it's been a pleasure the last 2 seasons to watch him develop. And, you know, we said at the start of this season, he looked like he had self-belief. We all saw all his attributes, we saw his physical development, but then it was like something clicked And it's like, yeah, actually, I really am that good. And he feels he could, well, from what I can see, it looks like he believes he can take a game by the scruff of the neck and change it. And just so proud and so happy for him, because he's a real talent, and he's getting everything he deserves from the game.
And I wonder, how important is that word belief as well? Because I don't think I'm doing him any disservice by saying 12 months ago, he's effectively the understudy to Morgan Gibbs-White, wasn't he? And he seems to have taken that on board. He's learnt from playing alongside Morgan, alongside Billy. Has it come as any surprise to anyone in that dressing room that he was picked for Senegal and went to the World Cup?
No, and I think credit to the gaffer for giving him his chance. You know, I think he had a tough time under Slav, and the gaffer's got faith in him. And I mean, the kid's special. He's got the world at his feet, and I think Carl makes a good point. He's so humble, but when he goes onto that pitch, he expresses himself so much, and he is a special talent.
Yeah, so humble. And I think that was epitomised. If you were with us on the last show, we had a clip of the moment he found out that he'd been called up to the Senegal squad, and his reaction, it was so refreshing.
Yeah, it's brilliant, you know. And you were nervous because at one point he didn't think he'd been selected, and then when he had, and the way he's gone and taken it, you know, taken the World Cup, and he took it in his stride. But for me, I'm more excited for today, because it's easy for a lad to, I've been at the World Cup, and just go through the motions. There's no way he's going through the motions today. He's going to be showing people, look, I am the same boy who went to the World Cup. I'm hungry. So I'm expecting a big performance from him today.
Yeah, he's just not that kind of character, is he, Jack?
No, I agree with Carl. I think today, and going forward, I think he'll take it to the next level. I think he's got a taste of it now, and I think he'll just go all the way.
Well, it's all very well and good, the three of us talking about the man himself right here in the studio, but why not let's hear a little bit about how he's enjoyed the last month. We caught up with Iliman Ndiaye when he got back from Qatar.
Brilliant, unbelievable experience for you. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, it was really good. Obviously, it was a dream to go and play in the World Cup, and I've managed to play in the World Cup, obviously, and yeah, it was really good times. Unfortunately, we didn't make it all the way like we wanted to, but yeah, hopefully next time.
Like you said, you didn't go as far as you wanted to, but back in Sheffield now. How's today been with the boys?
Yeah, today's been really good. They welcomed me back very good. Yeah, we're just obviously training because getting ready to play our first game back on Saturday.
So obviously you've just got back, so able to present you with the AB Roofing Solutions Player of the Month for November.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So picked up some good wins in November. You got on the score sheet a couple of times. How do you reflect on that period?
Well, I feel like it was a really good period. Obviously, we've gone for a couple of games not winning to picking up points after points again. I think it felt really good, and just obviously trying to keep my form going, you know, with the goals and all of that. Which is what I'm playing football to do. So, yeah.
Getting back underway on Saturday at Bramall. Excited?
Yeah, I'm excited to see the fans again, cheering on the team. Yeah, can't wait for it.
Iliman Ndiaye there, the Player of the Month for November here at Sheffield United. And I think the relaxed nature of that chat as well probably epitomises the man that Iliman Ndiaye is. Let's take a look at his stats from the World Cup now, because he did start that final game Senegal played against England. 3 appearances in total, a couple of shots on goal. He didn't find the back of the net, but he again, a bit like his career here at Sheffield United, Jack. He seemed to grow as a player the longer the tournament went on, the more exposure he got.
Yeah, and that's really to it too. I think it was firstly a fantastic experience for him. Like we said before, he's got a taste of playing at the highest level now, and I think he's going to be hungry and chomping at the bit to get out there today.
And you keep talking about it, Carl, but he wasn't in the first starting 11 for Senegal in the first game, but by the time they played England, he was.
Yeah, and when he came on and when he was past the ball, he looked so assured, and he was controlling it and holding people off as we see him do here. And that in itself, mentally, he'll be thinking, well, what I'm doing in Championship, I'm doing internationally. So he'll know that he's doing it right and he's good. And you know, we're expecting him to go to the next level now, because mentally, you know, he'll be through the roof with confidence.
There's a maturity about his play now that perhaps wasn't there a year ago.
Yeah, and that comes with playing games, and obviously I've seen what he does off the pitch as well in terms of the gym work, and you can tell he's bulked up a bit, and he's lasting full games now as well, which is important, and you know, he's only going to get better and better. I'm
working with Jack Lester as well. I think he really looks a goal threat now. When we first saw him, people were saying, is he a number 10? He is a striker, and he knows where to score now. You can see when the ball's out away from goal, he's positioning himself, and it must be from working with Jack, because Jack was one of the best box players in my time when I played football at other clubs. Jack was renowned for being so good in the box, and it will be coming through to Ilman.
Well, he does start today's game as the joint top goal scorer for the Blades with 9. Ollie McBurney's there alongside him. He starts on the bench, but with just 24 minutes to go to kick-off. Let's remind you of the Blades starting 11 to take on Huddersfield Town this afternoon. 3 changes to the starting lineup. Kieran Clark, Anil Amahodic and James McAtee returns to the starting 11 at the expense of Chris Basham, who drops to the bench, Jack Robinson and Arblaster as well. Some notable players back on the bench there. Sander Berger, perhaps chief amongst them, alongside Max Lowe. Let's take a look at how we expect them to line up today. And there is an option, particularly in that middle 3, Jack. So we've got James McAtee on that graphic as in that number 10 role, if you like. But equally, I guess Ollie Norwood could drop into the holding role.
Yeah, I think it'll be Ollie sitting and Maka coming in off the right and Ozzy on the left. And I spoke to Maka yesterday actually, and he said he's enjoying playing off the right, and he just wants to get more game time there, so he's got that today as well.
Do we feel that's our strongest back 3 with Clark, Egan and Amahodic?
That's hard for me to answer because Bashi's a legend of the club, isn't he? But listen, Anil's been fantastic. I think he's just been a bit unlucky with his injuries and his illness, and obviously Robbo started to got a goal, and then he got injured as well at the Cardiff game. So I think we're just looking for a bit of consistency, and obviously we've got Eags, who's the ever-present.
This is the beauty of having strength in depth, though, Carl, isn't it?
Well, I'm looking at the right-hand side, and Bogle is my favourite player. Last year, I thought he was outstanding. You're now thinking, how's he going to get back in this team? Because Spalders has been incredible this season. When we've asked of him to attack, he's been there. He never lets you down going back in his work rate. For me, it's the left-hand side. Max Lowe, I thought he was a revelation for us at the start, because it meant we had both sides were potent threat going forward. But that's it. That's why we've got the best squad. It's going to be hard for Hecky soon when he's got all the numbers back, having to pick this team instead of cobbling it together. He's going to have to show us his skills of picking the strongest 11 and keeping everyone happy.
Well, since you mentioned him, let's talk a little bit about Max Lowe then, because we haven't seen him in action since September when he picked up that hamstring injury away at Hull. And I know you've been with us on this show before, Jack, saying Sheffield United have been a bit snake-bitten with injuries to left-sided players. Given the form he was in and the options he gives, that's another bonus, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there was a time when I was in the physio room and I think there was like 8 left-footed players injured all at the same time, and I've watched Lowe closely, obviously, with his rehab, and he's been working really hard to get back, and hopefully he'll get his chance tonight.
And again, I keep saying it, competition for places. You've got the experience of Ender Stevens, who starts that left wing-back position today, but if Max Lowe, Carl, can find any of the form in the highlights we've been seeing just a few seconds ago, then Ender Stevens will have to play well to keep his place.
Of course, and then you know the person we're not speaking about is Norrington Davis, who again has been brilliant all season, and when he went left wing back and left centre half, he was outstanding. So the competition for places, it's going to be coming back, but we've got a hectic Christmas period to deal with. Yeah, it's exciting.
You're not going to thank me for asking this question, Jack, but when Rhys Norrington Davis is fit again, what is his best position? Is it left wing back or is it left side of 3 at the centre half?
Me personally, I think he's got a future at left side centre half. Definitely, I think he's got every attribute to play that position. I think obviously early on in his career he was playing left wing back, which suited him for his age. But I think as he gets older, I think he'll be a top left side centre half.
It's a dilemma to resolve on another occasion. Let's take a look at Huddersfield Town, our opponents, and their form coming into today's game, because they are currently bottom of the Championship table, having made it all the way to the playoff finals last year. 2 wins, a couple of defeats, 1 draw. But the one thing that screams off that page to me, chaps, is the lack of goals that they're scoring. That's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to the analysis this morning, and he said that the last 10 goals have all come from set plays, which obviously they'll be a threat at set plays, but it means they don't really create many chances. So I think it'll be the same as what most teams do when they come to Bramall Lane. They'll probably sit in a low block and try and hit it on the counter-attack.
Well, their top scorers, Carl, combined, Danny Ward and Jordan Rhodes, they've only scored 3 apiece.
Yeah, that's not a great stat, but for us, for how we like to play, we're better when teams are actually coming at us. You know, we do struggle with the low block. You know, Rotherham, I think it's going to be similar to that, where they sit in and they hit you with work rate. Last year, everything seemed to click for them. You know, I was at both matches last year, and I couldn't work out how they were up top. You know, they hadn't one player, the young left midfielder, who stood out, but everyone else was just disciplined and did their jobs. So it's going to be hard. We've got to break them down. Our fans are going to be expectant, and there's going to be an expectancy in the air because it's the first game back. So it's just going to be, I think our players are going to be playing the occasion because it's a tough match.
Well, let's take a look at the 11 that start for the visitors then this afternoon. That left-sided midfielder you mentioned is Sorba Thomas. We'll take a closer look at him shortly, but they also make 3 changes. Boyle, Ward and Holmes come into the starting 11 at the expense of Mbete, Rhodes and Jackson. Is there a sense here that, given the lack of goals they've scored, the new manager, Mark Fotheringham, is looking for something different? He's looking for the players he's got to show him something.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's changed his formation quite a bit. I think he was at 4-4-2 at one stage, and they've played 2 games behind closed doors, which they've played 5-3-2. So I think they'll probably do the same again and match us up and try and be hard to beat and either win it on a set piece or a counter attack.
Yeah, I'm not expecting them to be expansive and to try and go toe-to-toe and outscore us. They're going to be as tight as they can and hope to nick something on a set piece and frustrate us.
Well, when you've lost 6 of 9 over the course of the season, it might become a little trickier for us to pick out several players to watch, but we have done so, and here they are. Some people might look at that and say, a goalkeeper, Lee Nichols. Jack, you know Lee quite well. You were at school with him growing up, and he's a bit of a late bloomer, but he's taken his chance well here at Huddersfield.
Yeah, I mean, he had a slow start to his career. He struggled at Northampton and then went to MK Dons, didn't really play that much, and he's really flourished at Huddersfield. And like I was saying before, he played centre mid when he was a kid for Liverpool, and so he's obviously quite good at his feet as well.
Sorba Thomas, you clearly noticed him last season. Carl, his story is fairly impressive as well. Plucked out of non-league football, I think it was with Boreham Wood last off-season by the then Huddersfield Town manager Carlos Corberán, to being part of the Welsh squad that went to Qatar. A bit like Iliman Ndiaye for us, his rise has been fairly meteoric.
Yeah, and it's surprising how they are doing this so quickly, you know, rising and going through the level so quickly. And he looks a decent player at this level, so no, full credit to him. And I thought last season he asked us a lot of questions. He put in some good performances.
One man that was alongside Sorba Thomas in the Welsh squad at the World Cup is our own reserve keeper, Adam Davies. And we caught up with him in an SUTV Live exclusive. He began by telling us just when he got back.
Friday, so we obviously had the game against England on Tuesday. And then we had a bit of a family day the day after. And I stayed out with my family in Doha for a few more days after that. And flew back with them on Friday to Manchester.
How was it experiencing those wonderful atmospheres at the World Cup?
Yeah, like you say, the atmosphere, the games and stuff was incredible. So proud to be a part of that. Obviously the results didn't go the way we wanted, but yeah, to share that with the team and the staff there, they're also brilliant, and the family that was there as well, it was so nice to have them in the stands watching.
Just describe your emotions when you were stood there and the Welsh national anthem set off for that first game.
Yeah, incredible, yeah. Just trying to soak it all in, like, you know, the red wall, the fans, they travelled in numbers. A lot of the games felt like an away game for us because obviously we're such a small country. And, you know, we're playing the USA and England, they bring a lot of fans, but they were fantastic. Probably the best moment was after the England game, we went over to the fans and clapped them for the support, and they were singing the national anthem to us. It was a real nice moment.
And of course, in the Iran game, Wayne Hennessy was sent off, so there must have been a feeling inside you thinking, hang on a minute, you know, if there's another issue here, I could actually be playing as well.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And then obviously for the game, Wayne was suspended, so yeah, I had to be ready. That gives you that little bit of edge, just on the bench waiting to, if that opportunity comes along. So yeah, something I really enjoyed.
And what was Qatar like as a place?
Brilliant, yeah, I loved it. Couldn't do enough for us. We got really well looked after, hospitality-wise. We didn't get to see loads of it because we were there to do a job, obviously. But we had a few family days where we met up with family and stuff, which was lovely. And all my family, obviously, they were doing a lot more than what we were doing in terms of going around the place. And yeah, they really had a good time.
And this experience, has that whetted the appetite of everyone involved with Wales to go again and get to another major competition? Yeah,
well, that's it now. We've got the qualifiers for the Euros coming up in March. So yeah, now it's full focus on that for international. But for me personally, let's get Sheffield United to the Premier League.
Adam Davis back from Qatar and back in amongst it with his Sheffield United teammates. And Jack, I know he FaceTimed you, didn't he, when he was out the World Cup?
Yeah, he FaceTimed me to show me the gym. I said to him, do you want me to do a gym session for you? No, but fantastic for Davo to go and experience that. I know his family spent a lot of money to go and watch him, and I'm sure they're very proud of him.
And he didn't actually get onto the pitch, but the way things turned out, he was one potentially card away from getting between the sticks for Wales, wasn't he, Carl?
Yeah, and full credit to them, and congratulations to Pagey, former Blade. Really proud of all they achieved, and yeah, wonderful.
We've spoken already in the build-up to today's game about the form of James McAtee, who seems to be growing in stature the longer the season progresses. Of course, he joined the Blades back in August on a season-long loan from Manchester City. And we caught up with him ahead of today's game, reflecting on the success of that move.
Massively, yeah. I think maybe even not doing so well at the start's probably helped me more, because I've learned more from being thrown around, being fouled. So yeah, it's been a great decision.
Huddersfield then next as a return to action. What's the feeling in the group about taking them on then? Because well, look, they've struggled at the start of the year.
Yeah, it's our first game back, so we want the 3 points. We want to start off well again. So yeah, we've been training, seeing how we can beat them, seeing how we can beat their low block. So yeah, it's been good.
How important is it that you as a group hit the ground running then? Because busy period, obviously, and you'll want to stay in a similar position to where you are right now. Send out a few messages to the rest of the league.
Yeah, definitely. I think if we get 3 points Saturday, I think it'll be a very good start to the second half of the season, and I think it'll send the lads in hopefully a winning streak.
The game will come and go, obviously on quick dash to somewhere to watch the match, England against France.
Yeah, I don't know where all the lads will be watching it, but hopefully we can find a place after the game. Hopefully we can see the start of the game.
He wasn't giving us much of an idea where he'll be watching that World Cup quarter-final tonight. James McAtee, fellas, we said there when we watched it, baby-faced, could be turned into a baby-faced assassin the way he's growing in stature and playing better and better, Jack.
Yeah, he's a good kid, he really is. I mean, you can see now around the changing room and around the training ground, he's starting to come out his shell. But he's a great kid with it, and he's got a great talent. He just needs to play games, really.
And we heard when he signed that season-long loan, Carl, very highly rated by Manchester City and particularly Pep Guardiola. And it didn't immediately come through the first couple of appearances. But let's be honest, if Pep says he's good enough, who anyone else to argue with that? And we're beginning to see it.
Yeah, of course. And he did have some tricky, the first match away at Luton was tricky, and it was a baptism of fire. They were all 6-foot giants, and it was all on. But he really impressed me away at Bristol. It was a terrible night for football. The boys weren't really on top of the game, and they weren't controlling the ball. And he came on and he gave some composure. His technique is obviously brilliant. And then against Cardiff, it was a 0-0 draw. The boys' performance was fine, but he came on and he energised everyone, and it was okay. We can win this, and we went on. And he is growing, and he is going to be a real asset for us.
What impresses you most about what you've seen of him in the 3 months he's been here now?
His self-belief. He knows he's a good player, and I just love that. I wish I was like that when I was his age. He just not unfazes him. You can tell in his personality, and like I said, he's a great talent. He just needs to play more games, and I'm sure you'll see the best of him.
Well, that says something about him, doesn't it, Carl? That he's still a teenager. You come and join new teammates on a season-long loan, and as Jack says, you have that self-belief, regardless of the outside noise, and there's plenty of that around football for sure now, but he has self-belief, and that is inevitably going to feed through to those around him.
Yeah, that will help him, but I think, as you said, firstly, Pep Guardiola believes in him. Jeez, if he believes in you, you've got something. You know, the players he's seen and he's let go, if he's saying, McAtee, you're a player, he's a player. None of us can really argue with it, can we?
Just ask the question to Jack, but as an observer with experience down the years, I'm going to ask you the same question. What stands out when he's on the pitch? What impresses you most about him?
For me was that he looked, when he first started his few games, he looked for the forward pass and not the easy pass. He was crossing the ball into difficult areas to make them make decisions and ask questions of them. That was, for me, what stood out was he had the belief in trying to unlock and try the difficult ball. It didn't come off a lot at the start, but he was trying the one pass that would unlock a team.
Well, the good news, Carl, is we're going to allow you to go to take your position in the commentary box right now. It's a lovely cold day, so you should enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to allow you to go without asking you how you think this one pans out, because on paper, we all know it should be a home win. We've seen it time and time again in this division. Things don't necessarily always go to form as they should on the face of it. So how are we going to go today?
I think it's going to be a difficult home win. I think 2-0.
Difficult home win, he says, and then throws in 2-0. We'll take that for sure. Carl, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
To this point, let's hear now from the manager, Paul Heckingbottom, who started by looking ahead to today's opponents and the potential difficulties that Sheffield United could face in taking on Huddersfield Town.
Tough game, like in terms of how compact they play. A mid-block just over halfway and really try and deny us space, so we're going to have to be really patient. From that shape, to sometimes jump and press and be really aggressive, which we're prepared for. And then likewise, even if we're playing well, they'll look to break when we get them really pinned in and they are deep. So there's not been many goals in their game since Mark's gone in there. You know, they're a real threat on set plays. 9 of the 10 goals since he's gone in have been, you know, set plays. But that was the same last year. They were one of the best teams at set plays. So that sort of pattern, we're going to have to be very patient, understand what they do well in terms of trying to stop us. They're going to deny us and try and stop us playing how we want to play. But that's what most teams do. So they just do it in their own way. Like I said, we know they're going to be probably mid-block over the halfway line, really compact. So it's those type of things we've been preparing for.
Is it good for everyone sort of associated with Sheffield United that you're obviously supporters as well as players and coaches, etc., you come back, it's a local derby?
We try and build every game up so there's not an edge to it, but the big games, we want every game to feel big. Whether it's a derby or not now, I think teams have, and how it's refereed, it's not as blood and thunder as they were derbies. They're just not. So I think sort of tactics and team setups always determine how frantic a game might be, you know? If they came and went full press and right against us and it was a ding-dong, then you might say, well, it's a proper derby game.
Paul Heckingbottom there, expecting a proper derby game. We have a little under 7 minutes to go to kick off here at Bramall Lane. Sheffield United taking on Yorkshire rivals Huddersfield Town. And a reminder, you can see all the action right here with us on SUTV Live. But to do so, you need to purchase your match pass right now. And to do so, go to the club's website, sufc.co.uk, and you can purchase the pass right there. Alongside me still in the studio is Jack O'Connell. We spoke to Carl Asaba before we heard from Hecky about the pitfalls of taking on a team that you're expected to beat. Does that defeat to Rotherham a little over a month ago actually stand Sheffield United in good stead going into this game to guard against that?
Yeah, I think so, but I think the lads will forget about that now. They obviously bounced back against Cardiff and then had the break. I think for us and for the lads, it's about starting fast and really putting on a performance in front of the fans.
You look at the stats this season. Obviously, the Blades have been very strong at home. Only 2 defeats here at Bramall Lane. Huddersfield Town have only won once all season away from home. We talk about it often and regularly, but the importance of a fast start in this situation, more so than others, actually is significant, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're at home in front of our fans. We've got to be on the front foot, but I think we don't need to panic if we don't score in the first 30 minutes. I think we just be patient and move the ball quick, 1 and 2 touch, and the spaces will open up.
How much does the experience of the likes of Bramall, Hodic, Kieran Clark, especially coming into that back line as well now? You know, Kieran Clark we've hardly seen due to injury for most of the season. In these sort of instances, when there is the potential for the game to be a little bit tricky, do people like him take on a bigger role?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll benefit from Clark's experience without a doubt, but at the same time, these players need to play well, because you've seen how strong our squad is. Anyone can come in and replace them, so I think it's down to the lads to perform and keep the shirt.
And we've got a good crowd inside the stadium looking behind me out of the window as well this afternoon. You've been amongst the boys all week. How much are they looking forward to actually just playing competitive football again?
That's it. We've had a few games behind closed doors, but it's not the same, and I think the lads are just desperate to get out there now and put on a performance.
And what about you? How do you see this one panning out? You can't say anything other than a home win, I guess, but...
I'm sick of doing predictions because I never get them right, but obviously I'm going to back the lads and go for a win.
Are we going to see goals today?
Yeah, definitely. 3-0 win.
3-0 win, we'll take that. Asaba said 2-0. Either way, a clean sheet and goals for the home team serves us up 3 points, and that would mean that for 24 hours at least, we'd return back to the top of the table tonight. Fingers crossed, we're looking for an entertaining game, but importantly, we're looking for a Sheffield United win. And to guide you through all the action, I'll hand you over to your commentary team now. In a moment, you'll hear once again from Asaba, but first of all, as always, here's Matt Young.
Thanks, Richard. The Championship is back, and it's a Yorkshire derby on the menu.